So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone SE 2020 versus the iPhone 12. Let's begin with a boot up in 3, 2, 1 and see which one can get there first. Now we are talking about the A13 Bionic chipset in the SE 2020, but unlike the iPhone 11, this one only has 3 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 12 has 4 gigs of RAM and an A14 5 nanometer chipset, but you've been seeing in prior speed tests, if you watched the other episodes, that it's not really showing to be that much faster, but it does boot up faster than the iPhone SE second generation. Okay, guys, so we can't really directly compare them when it comes to the speed of biometric unlocking, but the SE 2020, I can tell you, is a faster performer because you don't even have to look at it. You could be pulling this out of your pocket, already be one thumbing it and being in the device. So it's always been a faster experience. However, Face ID on the iPhone 12 has improved over prior generations and giving you a little bit better angles on unlocking. Sometimes it can still fail, especially if you're wearing a mask out and about in these current times. But I gotta say that Face ID feels a little slower, but keep in mind Face ID is supposed to be more secure than Touch ID, so that is a reason to pick it over iPhone SE second generation. So both this iPhone SE second generation, iOS 14.1, and the iPhone 12, iOS 14.1, are on their latest official versions as of the recording of this video. All right, guys, so here we are at the application portion of this speed test. Everything closed out for both phones. Let's begin with Instagram. And you could see Instagram a little faster there for the SE. Let's go home here. You'll see pretty similar here on this one. Now, the SE has that A13. Remember that. That's just like the iPhone 11, so that's going to be very quick. Now, again, that gesture action is faster, though, to come home. That's the iPhone 12. To come home over that home button, though. So while you do get a little bit of a speedier experience when unlocking, that action of touching that home button feels a little bit slower than the gesture. So let's go into Amazon. And you can see Amazon first there for the iPhone 12 by a hair, just very slightly. Let's go into eBay. And you can see eBay a little bit quicker there for the iPhone 12. Let's go ahead and scroll through and we'll look at these headphones right here, some Beats, and you could see pretty similar load times when in the applications. Now, you're not going to see any difference in smoothness either. So because they're both on 60 hertz panels, you won't see a big difference there either. So let's head now into weather. And you can see very similar once again. We'll head into calculator, and again, identical. We'll come home and we'll go into Groupon, and you can see Groupon, not now, pretty much a similar load time. We'll go into categories, and you could see about the same. We'll go into things to do, and loads up at a very similar rate. Scrolling pretty similar, but there are some major advantages to the iPhone 12. We'll talk about those in the conclusion. Let's go into YouTube. And we'll head over here to the Explore tab. We'll head over here to Trending. And we'll just kind of cycle through these to kind of see how it does perform here. And you can see overall, I mean, about the same general speed on both of these. Let's go into App Store. And about the same again, games. This is showcasing the value of the iPhone SE 2020. If you want the power, you don't got to pay $800. You can just get the SE 2020 for $350 and have all that same power as these more premium iPhones, but you are sacrificing quite a bit in hardware in terms of the camera, the display. Let's go into ESPN and some other things, but the general tasks of using the iPhone is basically the same. We'll go into score, and you could see again, very competent performance on the left. News, and I'm not seeing anything that's making me feel like I should just go get an iPhone 12 in terms of just sheer performance. But that's not stopping people from getting these because these phones still have a lot of what people want, like that squared off edges, 5G, nice colors. Maybe your phone doesn't work, your battery is bad, maybe something's off with your older device. Let's go into Apple TV, and you can see iPhone 12 a little bit faster there. Let's go into Mortal Kombat, and here I find the iPhone 12 to be showing a little bit more performance. The gaming definitely more enjoyable as well on that OLED display, a bigger display, better quality audio that comes out of the speakers. So this area, definitely the bigger iPhones are where it's at. And now the SE says, "Shut up, Nick. I didn't start up faster, but I'm definitely catching up here." And it looks like the SE actually might have loaded this a hair quicker. Yep, it did. So it looked like the 12 was actually ahead, and I found before testing it in this video actually that it was faster, but now the SE coming right back and telling me to shut up right live in the video. Let's go into PUBG Mobile and we'll see how this thing does perform here. I gotta say though, I would still pick the iPhone 12 or an 11 just for these, games. It's just more enjoyable. That 4.7-inch screen, I wouldn't buy that phone for gaming. Although you can definitely do it. It's definitely got the power you need to do gaming. PUBG. Let's see, you could run PUBG on both these. You can also run Call of Duty as well on either of these. We'll hit start here on the matches. We'll match up really quickly, see which one gets in first. Again, both of them going to get in there very fast. And because the iPhone SE second gen is based on some old iPhone 8, it definitely has the optimization because developers have already updated for that type of device already in the past. So a lot of optimization on that phone. So let's come home and let's go into a casual game like Temple Run, for example. And we'll go ahead here and see that the iPhone 12 was a little bit ahead. We'll hit play here when we go into the game. And of course, these phones with these chipsets are just going to tear through this little weak gaming right here. This is just nothing for these devices. The cheapest phones in the world could run Temple Run. So you can see right there that no problem for either of these on casual games. Let's go into iMovie. And you can see slightly faster. The iPhone 12 will have an advantage when it comes to things like video rendering. Let's go into Geekbench 5. And you'll see right here 3.62 gigabytes of RAM. That's 4. And then over here we have 2.90, so 3. And the clock speed is actually higher on the iPhone 12, 2.99 versus 2.66 gigahertz here. Okay, guys, so let's now go back and go through them and see if we get any reloads. Now, I expect that I see to reload at least one application, but maybe it won't. Let's go into Temple Run, and you can see pretty similar. Let's go into PUBG, and the iPhone 12 looked like it opened that a little faster here. Let's go into Mortal Kombat, and you can see very good on both. So this SE is actually doing pretty well here and holding these applications even with 3 gigs of RAM. iOS doesn't need as much RAM as Android, so it does well here even without it. So look like they both did a pause there on ESPN. We'll go into App Store. There's a reload there for the iPhone SE 2020 YouTube. There's a reload there again. So again, more RAM here will help a little bit. Let's go into Groupon, and again, a reload. So the SE 2020 is just not going to hold as many applications as that iPhone 12 will. This basic stuff, no problem. You can see right there, eBay. A reload once again for the SE second gen, and we'll go into Amazon. This is the first phone reloading this much in my speed test, so keep that in mind. Great performance, but not going to beat Apple's best like an iPhone 12, for example. So definitely the win in multitasking, going through those applications again, has to go to the iPhone 12. Okay, so when it comes to the internet performance, I find the iPhone 12 not to be any smoother when pinching or scrolling. It is a sharper reading experience due to the higher PPI, the higher density of that panel. But also the 5G is not the fastest in the world yet. I mean, it is definitely when we get hooked onto the 5G. But what I mean by that statement is that it's not as widespread as of the recording of this video as it could be. The iPhone 12, though, is a much faster internet performer. You see the SE was way behind on starting up this JavaScript. You can see 86.1 milliseconds versus looks like the 100.9. So both of these very fast, but the iPhone 12 is just getting faster and faster, and it's just insane how fast web pages can load on this device right here. So definitely the internet experience all around the board, I would pick the iPhone 12. A bigger iPhone is going to be a more enjoyable experience. However, one thing I will state though is that when watching full screen videos and stuff with the display, the notch can get in the way, whereas the SE is still using that traditional 16:9 panel here. All right, guys, so let's take this test to iMovie, and we're going to go ahead and render out a video on both of these, save this video clip, and just see how it can perform here. So let's go ahead and hit save video. These are both in 4K, and it's the same exact video at about 5 minutes and 1 second. I'll be back when they are done exporting to see which one comes out on top. Okay, guys, so the iPhone 12 actually won by a pretty good margin over the SE, more so than it did over the other phones that we already compared these to. So I would say that when it comes to rendering out video, definitely a big jump here, especially if you're doing longer 4K content, that HDR stuff. You definitely want these newer iPhones if you're doing high-end video work on your device. Okay, guys, so let's take this to Geekbench 5 and we're going to go ahead and run a CPU benchmark to see what kind of scores these two phones pull in next to each other. I'll be back when they are done. Okay, guys, so here's the final scores. The SE 2020 comes quite close in the single core, but not quite there. And the 12, just a crushing victory in the multi-core score. This test also took a lot longer to run on the SE versus the 12, maybe showcasing its power on the 12. So definitely the 12 is a powerhouse, even next to the iPhone SE, second generation. So this is definitely one of their weaker phones of the newer lines. Definitely one of them here, but still, it does enough and it has plenty enough power for most users. So the iPhone SE second gen is still a great value, but if you want to do more gaming, video rendering, you want that more powerhouse device, you definitely want to take a look at the 12 or 12 mini if you like the smaller size. This could give you a good indication of how the 12 mini is going to perform next to the other small phone in their lineup, the SE second gen. So if you guys found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click that like button for me. Let me know what else you want to see on the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro of devices, speed test comparisons. Get your comments in down below. I've been analyzing your feedback. This was one of the more requested phones. I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and peace.